Hello everyone, my name is BTK and welcome back to another video. Now today, this is the start of a brand new series that I'm going to do once a month. Now this series is called the Serial Killer Corner. Now what I mean by that is every month at some point I will be talking about a serial killer from the past to the very modern day. The reason I'm doing a series on this is because I'm into true crime and I'm into serial killers, and I wanted to talk about a few of them on my channel without turning my channel into a true crime channel. Because we all know what happens. I'll want to do that. I'll do it for 3 videos and then I'll just turn back to what I was doing. So I'm just making it a series instead. And I'll be bringing you the most cruel and most evil people in the world, the most evil serial killers you can imagine, all up to the modern day. Today is the BTK killer. Let's get into it. Dennis Rader, also known as BTK Killer, was born in 1945 in Pittsburgh, Kansas, and grew up in Wichita, but was masking some disturbing behavior, such as hanging animals. Rader dropped out of college and joined the US Air Force in the mid-1960s. After returning to Wichita, he married his wife Paula in 1971 and worked for an outdoor supply company for about a year in 1974. He began a lengthy stint as an employee of ADT Security Services. January 15th, 1974, Rader strangled to death 4 members of the Ontario family in their Wichita home. Parents Joseph and Julie and 2 of their children, Josephine and Joseph Jr., before leaving with a watch and a radio. Strangulation and souvenir taking would become part of his modus operandi, or pattern of behaviour. He also left semen at the scene and later said that he derived sexual pleasure from killing. The Ontario's 15-year-old son Charlie came home later that day and discovered the bodies. Rader struck again a few months later, on April 4th, 1974. He waited in the apartment of a young woman named Catherine Bright before stabbing and strangling her when she returned home. Rader also twice shot her brother Kevin, though he survived. Kevin later described Rader as an average-sized guy, bushy mustache, psychotic eyes, according to a Time magazine article. In October 1974, Rader placed a letter in a public library book in which he took responsibility for killing the Oteros. He then ended up with a newspaper, and the note gave authorities some idea of who they were dealing with. He wrote, "It's hard to control himself. You'd probably call my psychotic with sexual perversion hang up." He then would strike again, noting the code words for me will be bind them, torture them, kill them. BTK. The initials stuck, and the murderer came to be known for variations of the BTK killer, moniker, or simply BTK. So as you can see, this guy has he's got sexual pleasures from killing people. Now, BTK were then known to strike again in the crimes around 1977, in March of that year. He tied up and strangled Shirley Vian after locking her children in the bathroom in December. He strangled Nancy Fox in her home and then called the police to report the homicide. Shortly afterwards, in January 1978, Rader sent a poem to a local newspaper about the Vian killing. Several weeks later, he sent a letter to a local television station stating that he was responsible for killing Vane, Fox, and another unknown victim. He also made allusions to several other notorious killers, including Ted Bundy and David Berkowitz. David Berkowitz, also known as the son of Sam. Unbelievable, this guy. Despite his cat and mouse game with authorities, Rader was able to keep the lid on his secret murderous life. Reportedly an attentive husband, he and his wife had a son in 1975 and a daughter in 1978. The next year, Rader graduated from Wichita State University with a degree at Administration of Justice. Still, he continued to taunt authorities and appeared to be poised to strike again. As you can see, this guy does love a cat and mouse chase game. He likes to taunt authorities and likes to get inside their head, almost predicting when he's next going to strike again. But they still aren't getting him. Do they believe he's just a copycat? He's not actually killing them. He's just pretending he is, and that that's what they're believing. Obviously, he isn't, but maybe that's what they're believing. In April 1979, Rader waited in an elderly woman's home, but left before she returned. He sent her a letter to know that BTK had been there. In an effort to catch him, the authorities released the 1977 recording of his phone call to police, hoping that someone might recognise his voice. So now they are starting to investigate him and trying to find him. And as you can see, they're trying to find people to see if they recognise his voice. He then went a few years without actually committing a crime. But then killed his neighbour, Maureen Hedge, on April 27, 1985. Her body was found later on the side of a road. Her body was found days later on the side of a road. The following year, he then killed Vicky Wergeleg in her home, his final known victim. Dolores Davis was taken from her home on January 19th, 1991. Over the next several years, BTK dropped off the map as Rader focused on work and family life. He had left ADT in the late 1980s and started working for the Wichita suburb of Park City as a compliance supervisor in the 1991. In his new position, Rader was known to be a stickler for the rules. He measured the height of people's lawns and chased stray animals while toting a tranquilizer gun. According to reports, Rader took pleasure in exerting his limited authority over his neighbours and other members of the community. He was also a Boy Scout troop leader and president of his church council. However, BTK resurfaced in 2004. He sent local media outlets and authorities several letters filled with items related to his crimes, including pictures, a word puzzle, and an outline for the BTK story. He also left packages with clues, including a computer disk that ultimately led authorities to Rader's church. Investigators also noticed his Jeep on security tapes of some of the package drop-off areas, and cemented their case by obtaining a DNA sample from Rader's daughter. Rader was then later arrested on February 25th, 2005. Later charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder. His neighbours and fellow church members were stunned by the news, unable to believe that the man they knew was a serial killer that had hunted the area for so long. Rader then pleaded guilty to the charges on June 27th, 2005. Part of his plea, he gave the horrifying details of his crimes in court. Many observers noted that he described the gruesome events without any sign of remorse or emotion, because he committed his crimes before the state's 1994 reinstatement of the death penalty. Rader was sent to El Dorado Correctional Facility to serve his 10 life sentences. An interesting fact about Dennis Rader was that his story, his killings, then inspired the novelist known as Stephen King to write A Good Marriage. It was published as a part of the 2010 collection Full Dark, No Stars, and later became a feature film in 2016. However, there are some details that are missing about this Dennis Rader that we need to talk about, and they are disturbing. Dennis Rader, BTK killer, wouldn't just kill these victims. He would enjoy this and create his own bondage and use his victims' clothing to do so. Here are some pictures. They are going to try and be as blurred as possible. But here he is. It's pretty disturbing. The BTK killer would later on known as one of the most notorious and most evil killers out there, if there isn't a non-evil killer. Now this Dennis Rader, unbelievable. He enjoyed killing in a sexual manner. He loved to kill. BTK killer, one of the most evil and despicable men in the world. The acts that he did, just unspeakable and just crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dennis Rader, aka known as the BTK killer. I hope you have all enjoyed this video. Like I said, this will be a series, and I'll be doing this every month, where I'll be talking about a serial killer that I really want to get to the bottom of and talk about. This one was about Dennis Rader, BTK killer. Next time, we'll have to wait and see. Will it be from this day and age, in 1974 to 1991, like Dennis Rader, or will it be a bit more modern day? We'll have to wait and find out. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please like the video. Subscribe if you're looking forward to seeing more of these, and just subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you all very soon. Until then, ta-ra.